Hey everyone, Chaps here, and welcome to the first daily recap video from our recent trip to New Zealand. If you want a bit more background, there's a background video linked down below. Go check that out, it's really short. As a bit more background though, I haven't really personally traveled internationally, and Caroline, my wife, hasn't traveled that much internationally before either. The extent of my international travel is really a few cruises and then a couple one-day trips to Canada, either for a cruise or for work or something. So yeah, this is a pretty new experience for us. But now let's hop into day 1 through day 3. We're covering 3 days here because, flights. And actually there's one more thing I want to add before we hop into that. And that's that I apologize for the lack of video and picture for this first video. I'm going to cut some stuff and throw it in and video edit. But I wasn't really planning on doing this series when I first got there. So I wasn't taking as many pictures and video for B-roll type things as I probably should have. But anyways, let's get into this. On February 24th, we left CVG, the Cincinnati area, at 7 p.m. and landed at DFW, Dallas, Texas that is, around 9 p.m. This was an under 3-hour flight, plus a 1-hour time change, on a typical regional jet, so nothing crazy. We were very fortunate to not have a delay though, as when we landed in DFW, we only had about 15 minutes until our next flight started boarding. It didn't take off until 10:30, but being it was a 787-9, the Dreamliner, it was basically fully booked. It took quite a while to board. One thing that really helped for that flight though was changing into sweatpants and sandals for the flight. It's a 15.5-hour flight, so you gotta get comfy. I won't be spending too long discussing the flight, as that's not really why people are probably watching this video, but it is worth discussing. We sat near the back in basic economy seats. Being I'm 6'4", I always opt for an aisle seat, while Caroline took the middle seat next to me. And yeah, for a 15.5-hour flight, legroom wasn't exactly ideal for me. We brought neck pillows, but both of us struggled to really sleep too much, maybe an hour or two each. And then throughout the flight, we received 3 meals. Within 2 hours of taking off, dinner arrived, which was kind of surprising. It was chicken and mashed potatoes, which wasn't great, but not as bad as I expected. And I'll note that that basically concluded day 1 for us and started day 2. Around the halfway point of the flight, we got lunch, which was a mango sorbet and a calzone, neither of which was really too enjoyable, but hey, at least it was food. The time zone changes are crazy fast when flying west, so now is actually the end of day 2 and the beginning of day 3. Now you can see why I combined the first 3 days into one video. About an hour or two before landing, they served some breakfast. We got eggs, ham, hash browns, and a yogurt with granola. Caroline replaced the eggs, ham, and hash with some mixed fruit. The eggs were kind of strange, but again, I was satisfied with the meal. I'd never really experienced airline food before. We landed in Auckland right around 9 a.m. We were dead tired, and it was 9 a.m., and as you can guess, that really sucked. After baggage claim and customs, we walked over to get our rental car from Hertz. It was a red Kia Sportage, which ended up working out really nicely for us. I will say that it didn't have Android Auto working, and I forgot that clip type thing to hook my phone up to the vents. So yeah, Caroline became the designated navigator for us. It was a fairly short drive to our hotel, the Ramada Suites by Wyndham in Albany on the North Shore, which is about 30 minutes away from the airport. While it was a short drive, it was a bit confusing. I'm from the US and had never driven outside of the US. Now I'm on the wrong side of the car, on the wrong side of the road. I'll discuss driving a bit more in some future videos, but a few key points here. 1, I certainly biased towards the left quite a bit, but I think I got over it pretty quickly. And then using my right hand for turn signals was really weird. I kept turning on the wipers. Oh, and turning into the proper lane felt very strange on some of the smaller roads. So spoiler alert, I'm writing this script kind of in the future, so after a couple days I can confirm that I did get used to those things, but they did feel very strange at first. As for the drive itself and the stuff around, we basically were staying right in that Auckland area that first day, and it really reminded me a lot of Florida for some reason. Just a lot of sort of really hot, not desert, but hot tropical climate. So we got to our hotel around 11:30, and the room isn't ready. Not really surprising there being check-ins at 2, but I figured I'd see if they had something already. Being it was lunchtime, we just walked over to the KFC next door. And yeah, you heard that right. The Americans' first meal in New Zealand was freaking KFC. Next, we decided to walk around a bit. This was really supposed to be our jet-laggy racer day, so we didn't really have anything planned. We found a park nearby with a nice pond and a short path around it. We killed 20 minutes or so just walking around the pond and explored that little area near our hotel. I'll say it wasn't really a great first impression. Where we were, at least, had a lot of empty lots that just didn't look that clean. I'm going to throw up some street view pictures here so you can get an idea of what we were seeing. I was also really caught off guard by the amount of Asian influence there seemed to be in this area. And to be clear, this is a new thought. I'm not tagging that onto the bad first impression thing. It was just another side note of something I saw. It seemed like there was a lot of Asian influence for some reason. As we walked around, we saw a ton of Chinese, Thai, Vietnamese shops, as well as a bunch of gaming and computer shops. At 2 p.m., we checked into the room. The area that we were in didn't seem that great, but the room was actually pretty nice. Also, to be clear, I'm typically pretty frugal, so we're not really picking the most upscale places, but we're also trying not to pick some terrible little cheap place. After unpacking, it was shower time, and as someone who showers daily, going without one for that long, especially after just sitting on a plane, it felt amazing. Oh, and we were really caught off guard by these heated towel racks they had, which were a really nice touch, and I kinda want one at home now. Next, we opted for some groceries to hold us over. We found a place called New World, which was right next to the park that I mentioned earlier, and it was actually a grocery store, so we drove over there. Come to find out, it's actually a grocery store inside of a mall, which is kinda cool. We just picked up a few basics, dropped them into the car, and checked out the mall for a bit. The Asian influence actually continued here. There were a bunch of Asian restaurants, a huge tech focus, and even a lot of the signs were written in what I assume is Chinese. Sorry for my ignorance here, I don't really know the different languages. Then after exploring the mall, for dinner we headed back over to that area to a restaurant called the Merchant Pub Company, or Merchant Pub Co. Being in Auckland, I opted for some fish and chips, while Mrs. Chaps got a vegetarian ravioli. Both were fantastic, and a great start to the trip from a culinary perspective, ignoring that KFC from earlier. And there was some nice live music being played, just a guy singing with his guitar. We got back from dinner around 6 p.m., and yeah, that was a very early dinner for us, but we were dead tired, so that's why we did that. But we were in bed by around 6:30, put on a short YouTube video to, relax and fall asleep. And we actually fell asleep within the first 10 minutes of the YouTube video, so yeah, I'd say we were pretty tired. But it was a good thing we went to bed early, because tomorrow is going to be an early morning. Why is that, you might ask? Well, go ahead and subscribe, turn on notifications, and you can see tomorrow's video and figure out why that is. In the meantime, if you have any questions, just hit me up on Twitter or leave a comment down below. While you're down there, if you found this enjoyable or helpful or whatever, or if you just think we earned it, go ahead and hit that like button. And I'll say sorry once again for the lack of images and videos on this one. Things are going to improve as the series goes on, and I actually planned on taking more videos and photos. So, thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.